Hello, everybody. My name is Martha Alter Hines, and I am here with a very good friend, wonderful being, John Ryan. And so, if anybody is not familiar yet with Dr. John Ryan, I highly recommend connecting with him, his work, and you're about to get to know him. And he's just truly one of my favorite people on the planet, with no question. So it's just such a pleasure. Yay. And I'll say a little more about you in a second, just for people who don't know you. But the topic we're going to be diving into today is something I've been wanting to talk about more directly with John for a while, which is light language. And I know this is something that not only I would love to hear more about from you and just be present with, but I've heard from many, 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 many people in my community and comments on various things. This is a big topic alive, I think, for a lot of us. So super excited to drop more into this. So yay. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Martha. It's a delight to be here and to be with everybody listening. I think we're in for a fun experience together.
Yeah. And so for people who aren't familiar with you, just to give some of the basics, again, you're just an amazing human, amazing being. But John is a medical doctor and just retired, just retired from being a professor of medicine as well, specializing in radiology, oncology. Am I getting all this right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in addition, over the past many years has been channeling the Sirian Light Collective. Correct me if I'm getting any of these details off, but yeah, so John channels Sirian beings and in particular has channeled a whole system of healing um, with regard to the 24th chromosome and DNA healing and just amazingness. I don't know. There's so much there. So, yeah, so you have this amazing combination of both being very practical, very educated medical doctor, medical professor, and you channel this very powerful, very beautiful healing modality, among other things. And in the midst of all of that, part of what you do is light language. Um, and yeah, and light language, as I think we'll get into in this conversation, has been something coming alive for me as well, just in the last, since you and I met, actually, because the first time you and I did a video together last summer, I think you did, yeah, you did light language in that video. That was the first time I experienced you doing light language. And I have heard light language many other times, but specifically coming from you, it was like, and people can go witness that moment on the video. In that moment, I suddenly saw your soul. I suddenly saw your spirit, and I suddenly recognized you as a spirit soul brother, literally, like a star soul brother. But I hadn't, I could feel that, but I saw it as you did the light language because I think it just opened up a different frequency or something. And it sparked something in me where I went, oh, this is really important. This light language experience is so much more than light language itself, quote unquote. It's almost like a gateway, it feels like, to a a vibrational quality of our being that is mm, so much more essential to what we are, to what life is, etc. And yeah, anyway, I'll say more as we can go down this through this conversation. But since then, I did also start doing light language in my own way. And actually, I held a how to channel course, and my guides had me teach how to do light language, even though I hadn't done it before. And in the courses, I did it for the first time and taught it at the same time. Yeah, which again, I can say more about. But yeah, it just feels like part of where we're going, part of what's actually needed. It's a medicinal experience in and of itself, and so many things beyond words. So that's yeah, part of why I felt called to have this conversation, and yay, here we are.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful introduction to the concept because there's so much in light language that is mysterious, I guess. We people respond to it when people hear it, they feel it. And, there's a resonance influence that occurs. And so people know there's something happening when they're listening to light language. But it's not the kind of language that we use in a 3D world where the words mean something specific. There's not a syntax attached to the words. And what I've learned myself, Martha, over time is it's interesting. So I'll go back a little bit to how light language came into my work and into what I do is I a lot of the healing work I do was channeled through visions I was given. So I would see visual teachings. I would have experiences where I would see things in my third eye that slowly over time taught me about the nature of the 24th chromosome and the potential to work in that space to be able to bring healing into the physical world, if you will, the 3D world from a quantum dimension or a quantum aspect of our being. And so that was kind of interesting as that unfolded, of course, and the mystery of all of that, and the revelation of all of that, and what have you. But in 2019, I had an experience in a meditation where light beings came into my vision, inside my head, in my third eye. And I'm seeing this array of Sirian beings. They were like a blue-white light. They told me their name was the way to refer to them in this context, the Sirian Blue-White Collective. And so the reason they were coming to me in that vision through like a telepathic kind of a sharing or communication, they said they've been part of the unity field work and the geometry of that and all that process, but kind of more silent in the background. They didn't really need to come forward at that moment in time, but they wanted to begin a process of transmissions, like monthly gatherings where they could be available to help humanity who align with the ascension process, who are consciously aware of the ascension process and undergoing this energetic metamorphosis, to be able to come in and be with them and to support them in a tailored, personal, energetic kind of a way. And so it's kind of an extension in a way of unity field healing, because what I quickly learned about unity field healing is that healing is a misnomer. It's really more about a spiritual recalibration, and healing is kind of a side effect from that integration. And so we have to reframe our thinking about all of that. But they explained there's a group of people who are really ready to receive a really powerful support. That you can kind of think of them as a group of souls who were all born together and knew that they may be called upon to participate in the ascension process. And so they're there to support this group of people in this way through these monthly transmissions. So with all that to say, that's how they began. Now, over the course of the first couple of years of transmissions, there was like a teaching. I would get at first it began, I'd get 3 months at a time. I'd kind of get the topic of the transmission in little blocks of three. And then they started giving me annual series of transmissions. And as the work evolved over time, they would want to do a light language transmission at the end of the didactic teaching. So we would talk about things or aspects of energy, integration of ascension, all this kind of stuff that might be part of that monthly transmission. And the format would be there would be a discussion, kind of a teaching. Then there would be a light language transmission. And what they explained was this is to really do the teaching on an energetic level. So the words are great. It's interesting. It's important that you understand, you have an expanded awareness of what's happening on the planet and in your body and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, so much of this is at a level that transcends conscious thought and understanding. It's an integration that is so organic, but yet deeply quantum and personal and powerful at an energy level that it's better to bypass the words. And so if you've ever had energy healing work, you know how sometimes you'll drift off and you feel like you're falling asleep, or sometimes when I do the meditations, people say they drift off and they can't stay awake. And I always say, well, then celebrate, because all that means is the mind is getting out of the way. It's kind of like letting go of the moment, not hooking onto the moment and controlling it, and letting the energy be very direct. And so I found the light language could be understood in that framework. It's almost like you speak in a language that the brain can't lock onto. So it's curious at the beginning, but then it stops paying attention to the words, because it knows that it doesn't understand them anyway, and it settles. And then there's a direct energy transfer. And what I see kind of happening is it's almost like when you speak in light language, there's a portal that opens, like a little, like a window. And through that streams glyphs of energy. It's like these energy patterns. And when it's coming to a group, it's like the energy is being transmitted, but the way that each person is going to resonate with the field of those vibrations is very, very unique to their energy. And so it's not like it's a single message that says, everybody do this, or everybody be at peace, or everybody be happy, or it's not like that kind of experience. There's an energy transfer that creates energy signals or patterns or geometries, however we want to think that, kind of harmonic structures. And as they interface with the energy of the group, they're singing the way a tuning fork begins to resonate. It's almost like they come into the space and they're vibrating. And as that happens, each person's energy is then interfacing with the resonance. And so the resonance then has the recalibrating opportunity. Like the, if you can kind of think of it as a geometry, if it's singing and your field is in resonance with it, your body can respond to the resonance of it. And the nature of the geometries is they're kind of like high level, high vibration, geometrically perfect little things that have the capacity to create resets or recalibrations in the system. And so words don't really do that. It's an energetic kind of a process that does it. And that's what I came to understand was really happening in those moments in time. And so as the work kind of unfolded, I would do a teaching, and then the light language would kind of seal the deal. It's kind of like we would have a discussion, and then we would do, it barely lasts more than 5 minutes, at the most, but it would be an opportunity for an energy setting to take place. And so it would be attuned to the nature of the discussion. It would be really in alignment with the process, but not something that could be understood mentally or as concepts or words. It was more of a direct energetic experience of the same thing. Now, what I would find on my end doing them is as the transmissions would begin or the light language would begin, I'd feel different energies joining or merging or becoming like in my field. And they feel like beings in a way, like it's almost like there's a personality to the energy sometimes. Like it feels like a maternal energy, or it feels like a wise energy, or it feels like a, you know, some other kind of a star energy, like another kind of a being. And then at other times, it's more like a field, and it doesn't even seem to have like a personality or an identity. It's more like a field of energy. And then the words that flow from that, or the, I shouldn't say words, the sounds that flow, which register like words, but it's sounds and phonetics. And the sound is just a vector. It's just a carrier wave for the energy to move between dimensions. So the sound just creates like an arrow. It's like a vector. And then the energy kind of comes forward with the sound. And so, but they take on different qualities. And so sometimes people would say, oh, that was so soothing. I could just feel the nurturance in that energy. I could feel the quality of energy. And other times they'd say that was a very powerful teaching. It had a masculine quality to it or a feminine quality to it. And people would have these registrations in their own experience of the light language. They would feel these things and sense these things. And and I would too. And it's always completely in correlation. Like if somebody says something, it's like, I totally understand what you're saying. And so there's times where it feels like it's a higher aspect of myself. There's times it feels like other beings are part of the process. I don't have a clue how that all works. I really don't know what's going on at that level. But the experience of it is this immersion of energy, immersion, and then the sounds will be generated and created. And what really gave me comfort, I guess, or confidence perhaps in doing it is at first, of course, there's a human attribute to ourselves. It's like, this is crazy, or, what are we really doing here? I'm just making a bunch of noises and sounds. Like on a human level, it's so easy to not be able to truly grasp what's going on and to judge it and even think it's, it's being silly or it's not real. but then you realize the profound experiences that people have. And people sometimes long to understand. They say, "Oh, can you now translate what you said?" And it's like there is no translation. It's not something that's meant to be understood. It's an energetic process. And so the energy itself will speak and reveal and convey what it's meaning to do over time. Like it speaks for itself, but not as a translation. And so the energy helps us make energetic adjustments, calibrations, attunements, advancements, however we want to conceptualize that. And but then people would share in the chat box during these like the monthly transmissions, and they would say, "Oh my goodness gracious," like blah blah blah, and they would, have all these experiences that they would share, and they'd have visions, and they'd see other lifetimes, and they'd feel healings taking place, and they'd have all of these really profound quantum experiences. So after I'd done it for a little while, I thought, well, I don't really know what it is or what I'm doing, I beyond the words that I'm sharing right now, but the impact of it was so profound and powerful that you really quickly learn that something magic is genuinely happening in those moments. And so it allowed me to kind of continue doing it. And I still do it in the monthly transmissions. I had never done it outside of that scope until we did our event last year. It's the first time I've ever kind of done it in an interview or in a public forum outside of the transmissions. And so it was interesting that that came to be at that moment in time. And it was a spontaneous, like an intuitive kind of a moment. And the other thing you realize with light language is it's not something you can force. It's not like you can say, "Oh, I'm just going to speak light language, blah, 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 blah." It's something you have to sink into. It's like something you have to attune to and feel. And then you speak from that space. And there's no ego to it. There's no construct to it. There's no plan. It's just an expression of energy perfectly attuned to the moment that's being shared and that all of the people are in. And that's how it unfolded, of course, at that time as well. So I'll stop there and let you share.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's before we started recording, I hope it's okay if I say this. One
Sure.
thing you were sharing is that you're feeling, mm, I'll let you put it into your own words too, but you said you're feeling a need to be in a lot more silence, like that there's a lot you're recognizing that doesn't need to be said in words. Feels like there's like a theme with all of this, right? And um yeah, so two things. One thing I'm wondering is if so I'm feeling called to kind of drop in and see if maybe some light language wants to come through, either or both of us. But number two, the other thing I want to point out astrologically that's going on is Sirius, the star, is going to be incredibly prominent in the first half of 2026 in particular. So we're recording this on Monday, December 29th, 2025. But this Saturday is a full moon in at which is going to be the moon will be conjunct Sirius. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we currently have Jupiter going retrograde in Cancer. It went retrograde at 25 degrees of Cancer and it's going retrograde now, and it will go direct at 15 degrees of Cancer on March 10th, 2026, which is conjunct Sirius. And then I was just remembering, and I was just looking this up to confirm it. Then in the middle of 2026, Mercury is actually one of its retrogrades. Mercury goes retrograde 3 or 4 times every year. And uh let's see, June and July of 2026, Mercury will be going retrograde in Cancer. It's going to go retrograde conjunct Sirius. So the exact actually, yeah, oh my goodness, right. So it goes, sorry. Okay, it's going to go retrograde. No, no, no. It's going retrograde on June 29th, 2026 at 26 degrees of Cancer. So that's almost precisely, it's 1 degree different from where Jupiter just went retrograde. And then it will go back to 16 degrees of Cancer and go direct on July 23rd. And that is it. So it will go direct conjunct Sirius, which is also precisely what Jupiter is going to be doing, doing right now. So in other words, right now we have Jupiter going retrograde at from 25 Cancer to 15 Cancer. Then in June and July, we have Mercury going retrograde from 26 Cancer to 16 Cancer. Okay. So both times, um, Sirius again is really, really highlighted. And yeah, I feel the Syrian beings here, very present with us, not surprisingly. But I really wonder if and like they're nodding at me. I wonder if part of what they're coming in more strongly this year and for all kinds of reasons, but I wonder if one of the reasons is to help us reconnect in with our heart. That's what I'm feeling. Reconnect in with our heart and the light of our heart and the nature of ourselves as light. So part of reconnecting with the nature of ourselves as light is remembering light language. Like it's almost like these words don't even they're not precise enough, to what I'm trying to say, but they're as close as I can get.
No,
Um,
it's very beautiful what you're saying. And it, like energetically, in terms of we speak of the ascension process and things, and there's this, we're all aware there's this magical process happening on the planet that's kind of birthing a new reality, a new human, a new civilization with a little bit of time. And as we go through this process, there are many, many facets and aspects of it. But right now, it's a very powerful time. Like we all feel we've crossed a threshold, like in this time frame, and that there's something being built that's hidden. It's happening, but it's not visible yet. And so there's this whole structuralization of energy and geometry and crystalline patterning that's occurring on the planet. It's occurring in our systems. It's occurring in our bodies, our physical bodies, but at the level of our energy bodies or crystalline energy bodies. And so there's this whole energetic birthing that's taking place, this process of integration and development of energy that has to be kind of developed and then held in form in a strong enough way to begin materialization. So it's kind of like it's still happening in the energy and it will eventually manifest in the physical or in the world. But it will fundamentally change the nature of the world. And one of those aspects will be a much more fluid form. There'll be an energized form or like a plasmic kind of quality to form where there's more fluidity in the form. And it's because of the light, the integration of the light that's taking place in the
yeah.
body. So our whole form structure will begin evolving and changing as that energy integrates and stabilizes and materializes for sure. And so at that level of reality, energy is the key to all things, right? Like consciousness and energy. So to fix things, if we think about the 3D world, if you're dealing with something in a physical way and you want to handle it at a physical level, you're going to be dealing with chemistry or biology or surgery if you're talking about your body, these kinds of things. But at a level of energy, the consciousness can repattern the structure that then materializes into form. And so all of the things that can speak at that level of reality, that nature, that quantum level of reality, whether it's sound or light language or direct energy transfer, all these kinds of things are part of that integration. So I think what you're saying is very astute and very precise, Martha. I think it's exactly the nature of what this is. The other thing that's interesting is sometimes when I'm speaking in light language, there's movements that go with it as well. Not always. Sometimes it's just words or sounds, but other times I have to move my hands in patterns as well. And I don't know if it's anchoring it or creating a form for it, if you will, but that can be part of the nature of what the expression of the light language is. And so these are all things that are working quantumly speaking, kind of at an energy level or quantum level, that are bringing in these patterns for resonance influence and for frequency modulation. So the patterns are there and then the energy can respond to it and it helps
Yeah.
restructure it. And I always think of it in the tuning fork example. You know how you always see the example where a tuning fork is struck and then a silent tuning fork begins to sound because this tuning fork is singing. When we bring these kinds of frequencies into this plane, however we do that, they do that. And then the tuning fork in us can respond to the sound of that resonance. So it's a beautiful illustration to help us conceptualize or understand the nature of what's happening energetically in those moments.
Amazing. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm being shown and told, and you have veto power to say no.
Do I
uh,
really?
yeah, you do. You really do. Really,
Spirit
always.
speaks.
You always do. No. Okay, this is fascinating. Not planned at all, but here's what I'm getting asked to do, if it's okay with you. What I'm feeling is again, we're recording this on December 29th, 2025. So you and I, John and I were both part of this event that many of you attended or have watched on December 5th, this free gathering. If you haven't seen that, highly recommend it. It was amazing. So it was a divine convergence gathering with John, me, Kelly Kolodny, David Clements, and Julia Balaz. And what I'm feeling is so many thousands of us came together to be part of that event. And it felt like something was needed to click, something needed to be activated. And I think it has been. It's still going. And then so many of us also felt called to be part of various gatherings on I held one on December 19th, and then I held another one on December 21st, and so many, including Kelly and Pam Gregory and all different Lee Harris, all different people were holding events all around the globe on actual solstice, December 21st. And many of us were being guided that sort of December 19th, December 21st timing was this threshold moment where lots of us felt like we were crossing this threshold into not only this new year, but this new kind of birthing of ourselves as the beings of New Earth, or whatever words you want to put on that. So what I'm being told or asked in this moment, again, only if only if it feels right. It feels like there's a way that we could be together right now where we go, there's like an activation or a it's like you and I could be the tuning forks of some kind of transmission that will help us all, um as we are and we have crossed that threshold, to attune to, on an energy body level and on even on a physical body level, to recalibrate some, like, it's so hard to put this into human words, but are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you feel about that
I
option?
think it's amazing. Yeah, no, I think I
Okay.
feel completely in resonance with that. And I mean, it's one thing to speak about light language, to conceptualize it, but it's just to have a framework or an understanding of the nature of the process. But the experience of it is a whole other thing. It's a very different level. And as people, as we, consider going into that space and doing that, I think what's really important for people to understand is let your mind go. Just kind of come up to the experience. Don't think you need to understand it. Don't think you need to analyze it or conceptualize anything about the nature of what's happened. It's really a moment to really let your mind still, just let your emotions still, move into kind of a sacred space in your heart and be still there. Just be in a space of, quiet, expectant openness, and just really be ready to receive in your being what's perfectly tailored for you. And it's always in service to the higher good of every person in that process. It's always in service to the highest intention of each person in that process. But it's something that's lived as an experience and a feeling and an inner perception, much more than it is a cognizant or conceptual experience. So just move into that space and allow yourself to live the moment from there, instead of from like listening with ears that thinks it needs to understand and so forth. So,
Yeah, exactly. And again, John and I were talking before we started recording, and I think, again, I don't want to speak for you, but I know for me, I personally have been experiencing major shifts on a physical body level, specifically for me with my heart being literally restructured right now. So I'm mostly in a 2 week time of taking a break from I'm mostly on vacation basically for these 2 weeks, and what part of what's happening for me is this literal recalibration of my heart body. So, I think a lot of us might be experiencing some version of something like that. And so what I'm feeling is that what's ever wanting to come through is a literal medicine. It's like if you, I think people, if it feels right, you could imagine lying down and receiving a Reiki treatment or something like that, like how you would go into that. You wouldn't be probably trying to analyze the meaning of the Reiki. Maybe you would, but that's how I'm feeling is like just let this be a medicinal kind of healing bath, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really well put. And it's a beautiful expression because we're learning to move into a space where we live much more in our hearts, much more. It's kind of like our point of presence. We've been in a civilization where so much of it is cerebral and mental, and through thought process as opposed to presence process. And the whole essence of this shift that's taking place is helping us be in presence, to be present in the experience, to be present in the moment. And it's something that comes by virtue of living in the heart. And so, but as we go through these energetic integrations that are kind of bringing us there into this new potential, into this new framework, into this new world, there's an energetic process that's part of that as well. There's a strengthening or a restructuring or recalibration of the energy system in all kinds of different ways to be able to live well in that new space. And so, but to do that, of course, the heart is strengthened and challenged and strengthened in different ways. But we're learning to be present in that space more and more. And so I feel everything you're saying, Martha, the same. It's been a time where I could feel a tremendous, almost at times like a pressure in my heart, like a sense of an expansion that's trying to take place, or an opening it wants to be bigger. It just, it's open. It's not like it's closed or on a heel, but it just feels like it needs to be bigger now.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of us are in resonant with that experience in some way, shape, or form, whether we know it or not. But it's happening to all of us as a humanity. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I feel the energy is in resonance with that.
Yeah. My guides, anyway, it's like we could go on and on speaking, but yeah, my guides are just very clear with me. You need downtime. You need a lot of downtime right now because we're restructuring your whole light body system, and in particular your heart to be kind of the new human heart, whatever that means. It's like, and my brain is going, "What are you talking about? This is
Right?
completely crazy. What?" And they're like, "No, just you know that we're right every time. Just relax. Just, if those words sound weird to you, fine, but we're
Yeah,
just telling
stay
you that we
calm.
know the truth." Like, okay, fine. Yeah,
Funny.
yeah. All right. Well, shall we do it?
Why don't you begin?
Okay. Yeah, and I'll say just what I will see what comes through me in this light language, but often what comes through is just toning
Yeah.
and oh. Ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh. Your turn.
Ya tu kia numanai tu yo tu utina ya fa kashanu tu ya kala u imnunu tunu yana yato yanata. Ya fashudkuduni ka kanakaniti ya un yana tiatu. Ya shuka kale yapnutu yatana. Ya patu yaki. Alamano shano tayo na yana toyana. Yapa katuya fashiniyati ya patu ya tununuyana tu ya nao ya tanayata ya patu yu ya no tu ya nana eta ya
Ahu, ahu, ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Madono to no yana ya no do dan yu tu yana kama no to de vi Kilando.
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Ah, ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Eta kunu dia tunu dino ya tu ya tu yo o ya no do ya na ya shuna ne kudu ya na e u ya padang ya
Beep, 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 beep. Yum.
ya pashu ya tu na ya no yo du ya di da no ya to yo no ya shineo to yi you wa Nutu, washanu, yanaku, nutu yanatai. Yana kayetuli dudu yana ba detianutu. Yakitiano paya. Shinaman ina yano no tudu yana o ya. Au. Yodo. It's hard to break the silence.
I know exactly. I have so many thoughts, and it's like, hmm.
I think that kind of moment gives people the opportunity, understanding more the nature of what's happening in those moments, to feel it, to realize what is meant when you say it's not to think, it's not to analyze, it's not to translate, but to feel. And as the energy moves through your system, as the tones move through your system, as the quality of the energy that's connected to the tones is moving through your system, it's like water in soil. It just kind of passes into the fabric of your being. And as it moves through you, as the sounds move through you, and the quantum experience moves through your body, it has the opportunity to calibrate or create certain kinds of release moments. And so it's not uncommon for people to release with light language. You'll have this experience of gentle little tears rolling down your face, or you feel like you can take a breath bigger than you could before you were listening to the transmission, or you have a memory of a lifetime, or you have a release of an emotion that you feel was kind of trapped or congealed in the body in some way. So there's a very powerful healing influence of it. I always say with healing, we were talking about this a little earlier, healing is kind of a misnomer because we think of healing as fixing something or correcting something. But healing is really a restoration process. It's when we have the ability to connect with an energy within us, inside of us, that can bring a more healed version forward or a released version forward. So healing is really a materialization. It's the process of bringing into form that which is in spirit already. And so healing is something that always occurs within us. But we're involved in something bigger than healing. We're not just going through at this time on the planet, magical healing opportunities, although they're there. But the purpose for that healing is a grace. It's a time of a planetary restoration, a whole galactic restoration at one level, where the planet is being called forward to rise in energy and consciousness so that we can remember who we are, not just as humans living an incarnational experience, but souls who have come to participate in the whole story of humanity. And so our human incarnations are like one dot in time or one experience in time. But as a soul, we're so much vaster and more complex and included than a single lifetime could ever integrate. But in order to move from the space we know to that space of integrated, multidimensional understanding, we have to release within us all the things that are part of the story up to now, the experiences that have imprinted us in one way or another. And so much of healing feels like release. And if you talk about healing, it feels like it's a story that never ends. We're just always healing another thing in some way, shape, or form. But it's because it's a deeply reintegrative process, and it's so multidimensional and multifactorial in its nature. And so it helps us to move beyond small concepts of healing and understand the bigger picture of healing. And in that context, you can really begin to see how these kinds of opportunities are medicines, as you were saying, Martha. It's medicine in its own right, but not the kind of medicine that makes sense in a 3D world. It's a vibrational or a quantum attunement kind of a medicine. And but like I said, an experience is always worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, exactly. There's a Syrian being wanting to speak. Okay, let him talk for a minute. Um, and if somebody wants to speak through you, go for it too. But yeah, he's right here. So, okay, yes. So we are just smiling so big and proud and with so much light and love from our beings through you to all of you. And yes, it is so important to drop below the words or to attune on that level because it's like painting with certain colors of paint that have gotten forgotten in a sense. They're kind of like the essential, the essence of your being as a being of light and of the original codes before there was even light. So we're so happy that you are attuning in this way, each in your own vibration, each in your own frequencies, because the what you could say the light language is um, it's an opportunity for those original codes of light and even the codes before there was light to reattune like those tuning forks, like John was saying, so that your energy body, so your physical body, can remember vibrationally that that's what you actually are. And like John essentially, I think, is trying to say is that in what Martha would call the time of great forgetting, the the physical body and the concept even of DNA has be has been conceived of as a much more fixed and less fluid way of being. And so these opportunities for attuning and these attunements to those original codes of light and even the codes before there was light are literally reattuning you and everything back into the natural state of existence, which is a continually and continuously fluid and changing, ever in motion state of being. So it's literally helping you to lighten up so that the energies that are no longer needed from the time of having been you could say more constrained or more sort of a denser form are literally being allowed to lighten up as you are in resonance with the light language, the light tones, and really, even you could say the light language is much more dense than even is necessary, but it's a form of transmitting those original codes of light and the time before light, the codes before light, in a way that can reach you right now. But there's even a lighter form than just that. And John, is there anything you want to say? I feel complete.
I'm being shown an image of putting a hand in a glove, and to help us understand that we're bringing an energy into our form. The glove is kind of like our body as it exists, and the energy is the energy that's moving into the glove to fill it. And so it's like a reconnection. It's a recalibration to the spiritual energy, or the spirit, the higher self, the monad, the energy of each of our being. And the process, that's to help us conceptualize, I guess, or understand the nature of the process. But we're bringing that energy into the form body and holding it more structurally present in the body. So there's a process of enlightenment. The light is coming into the body to enlighten the body, but to also transform it and to recalibrate it according to the instructions, if you will, or the blueprint or the information that's contained in a multidimensional aspect of who we each are. And so the healing is carried in that energy. Our body has the capacity to heal through that restoration. It's like a process of grace, if you will. And so there's a healing that can calibrate. And all of these things are experiences to help us live it in humans, as humans, with an ever expanding consciousness of the nature of the process. And so there's a certain kind of, excuse me, a certain kind of excuse me, education that takes place through the process as we live this out. And so all of these things like light language and energy healing and the power of consciousness over form and all these things that we learn are little steps to help us mature into that space of understanding life in that way, life in that dimension. And so as we go through these moments, right now, you were saying earlier, and I think it's so important, it's a time to let us, each one of us, just to still a little bit, to integrate a little bit, to nurture ourselves in, really appropriate ways according to our individual needs at a moment in time, and to give ourselves a little more space and more grace to expand through that. And so let the mind relax a little bit, let the emotions relax a lot so that the energy can work through it and into it and knead it, the way you would knead bread, just to kind of help mold it and form it into the way it's transforming in the future. And so if we give ourselves the grace of that at this point in time, it serves us so well. And to bring the light language in is just another way of introducing the light in the body. And then, but always rest with that, even after our little session today, to go and maybe just lie down for 10 minutes and just Don't think, don't analyze, just be in the energy of the experience as it was for you. And then after, you can become conscious, make notes, or if you have visions, you can make a little record of your experience and those kinds of things. But just to be with the experience, because it's a really pure and beautiful way of being with this energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm remembering also that Sirius, is technically in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer energy is very, very, very much about nurturing our emotional bodies in particular, but nurturing ourselves, right? So when Sirius is so highly aspected, what that means is actually the sign of Cancer is being highly aspected. So Jupiter right now going retrograde in Cancer. It's like expanding, expanding, expanding. Uh, Really, so much support right now to remember our emotional bodies, remember our need for being nurtured, deeply nourished and nurtured. And I feel what, again, I don't want to talk too personally right now because I'm right in the midst of my own process with my heart thing. But I think part of what is happening for me, and maybe is more of a collective thing too, it's definitely personal to me, is that we as beings who are strongly empathic or empathetic, very compassionate, healer type beings, which basically all of you listening probably are that in some form, right? We've been trained over eons in what that means. And usually that has meant for most of us giving giving is giving equals sacrifice in some way, right? Uh and um and so yeah, so I know what part of what's going on for me personally is that I can feel my heart and my pericardium literally being broken down to be reconstructed in a new form of what it means to be compassion, to be love, to be a being of the divine, and a divine heart, like a different, the new human version of my heart, if that makes sense. That's what my guides are calling it. I'm like, really? Okay, sure, but right, but it doesn't mean like being compassionate, being loving. All of that does not mean sacrificing, giving from lack, being used for your compassion, all the stuff that probably most of us have lived in many, many lifetimes, or even in this lifetime earlier. Uh, yeah, so that's my version at the moment, but I think there's so much of that being literally deconstructed and then reconstructed right now. um, and we have so much
It's
support for
beautiful
that.
to
Hmm.
it was going sorry, Martha. I
No, go
was going
ahead.
to say it's beautiful to realize in context too. Is we talk about ourselves as new human, new human, new planet, new ascension. All these words are kind of mirroring words, but when something is new, it's a newborn, and that's how we really are in the energy of this
Yeah.
space. And so think of it the way a wonderful mother would be with her child. And that's how the universe is holding each and every one of us at this moment in time.
Yes.
So we're so not alone. And there's such a supportive energy around us. It's a little intangible until we become aware, and then we realize it's so tangibly present. But it's almost like we have to open our minds and our hearts to its existence first, because it's not like a physical mother, it's an energetic support, it's an energetic system of nurturing and developing. And that light and energy is so present with us. And the moment we stop and pause and just remember that, you'll feel that energy holding you like you would a newborn child. You'll feel the energy holding your body, holding your heart, holding your mind, even like all the bits and pieces of us that are part of the human experience. And if we allow ourselves just to be held and loved and nurtured in that way, so much of what we're experiencing will be soothed and facilitated and eased. And like a little baby, it knows how to grow up into a person without any instructions. There's a natural process that just unfolds through the form of the baby. There's a natural process that will unfold through each one of us to bring us into this new energetic development in space. But we have to just allow ourselves to be aware of all that support and love that's present through the process. And the moment we do, you'll feel everything is just so much better. So
Exactly.
I encourage everybody to allow themselves to feel that and experience it for sure.
And you know what's funny? I'm remembering this. The other day, I recorded a full moon video for the full moon happening this Saturday, which is a full moon conjunct Sirius in Cancer. And when we have a full moon in Cancer, what that means is that the sun is opposite the moon, right, in Capricorn. And what I just remembered this, what came through at the end of my that video, which everyone can go watch the full moon video, which a lot of you already have, but at the very end, I felt called to channel, and what came through were Sirian beings who guided us into this very simple experience of being our inner elder, which is Capricorn at its best, holding our inner infant, newborn, heart to heart, light to light, which is basically, the sun over here in Capricorn, the moon with Sirius in Cancer. We are the inner elder and the inner newborn at the same time. And it's like literally what you're describing.
Magic.
There you go. So perfect.
Yeah,
Wow.
beautiful.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you. It was
Mm,
beautiful.
mm. Wow. Okay. Well, how to wrap this up? Is there any last thing that feels important to say or name? Anything we
No, I feel complete. I think we've covered everything that would be meaningful in this moment. So
wonderful?
just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What this feels like to me, um, it's like a part of me wants to project into the future, like into the coming months of 2026 and that kind of thing, which, theoretically we could do in some version of this conversation, but it feels like this is the medicine of this moment. And this feels like a tuning fork vibration that as we do move into 2026 and we have these, especially at the times when we are having the very strong Syrian uh, transits, I would really encourage any of you to come back to this transmission and just be with it again if that feels right for you. I mean, it's here. It's here, and it feels like it's here for a purpose. So, um, yeah, it feels like complete in that sense that it is whole unto itself, and it is what it is now.
I agree.
Yay. Wonderful. Um, Great. Well, so on very practical levels, if people aren't familiar with either of our websites, we both have lots and lots and lots of free offerings. Both of our YouTube channels have tons of free stuff, and then we both are always holding many other things as well. And John, do you want to say you have these monthly transmissions? Do you want to say more?
Sure, yeah. The Syrian transmissions it's a monthly gathering online through a Zoom format. And so the way they're constructed is there's a theme of energy for each of the transmissions. And then so there's a teaching, and then there's a light language transmission. And then we do a little quantum work together. We do something called star seeding, where we channel energy across the veil, if you will, into the new quantum crystalline grid. And we do that together as a group because we're in the space of supporting humanity in that way. And so we will do all of that. And then there's at the last 45 minutes is a direct channel transmission, which is like a meditation with a channeled message from the Syrians. The meditations it's these are little events. So people register either for the event or for the whole year. But the actual meditations, I also make them freely available. So they're all on the YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to just tune into the energy of any of the specific past transmissions, you can always do that. The meditations are recorded. And so they're there. But we'd love to have you join the events too. So if anybody wants to sign up and be part of the community, that's wonderful too. So that's great.
Yeah, and I cannot recommend your work enough. Or you, like truly, like wow.
Too
I
kind.
mean,
Too kind.
oh no, no, no. Ay, ay, ay. Truly, wow. Yeah, and I've heard from many, 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 many of the people who have gone through your training program also, which you haven't mentioned, but you also have a training program for your Unity field healing work.
Yeah, there's people can become practitioners of the work. So it's an energy modality. So if you're familiar with Reiki and processes like that, it's akin to that, but it's working with within the structure of the 24th chromosome. That's the way the work references the energy, and working with a light template in that space. And so there's people become practitioners, and there are lots of practitioners around there's like 600 practitioners now around the planet. And so on the website, people can find practitioners too if they want to receive a session or have the energetic experience of the work, then that's available to them. And practitioner training is available as well. So through myself and through some of the teachers, I've actually taught the first class of teachers last year too. So there are courses going on from time to time. So,
Yeah, and a lot of your practitioners have joined my community, and then a lot of my community have joined your
yeah.
training program. So,
Well, we're one, right?
no, it's awesome. And so I've heard from both groups, the people who have already gone through your training, who then came into my community, and also my clients who ended up in your training. Just, I
Love
hear rave reviews all the way around. I mean, really, it's just, ugh, so,
Ah,
so good.
that's sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah. So highly, highly, highly recommend connecting
Yeah.
with anything and everything that calls to you. Um, and what's coming up for me actually is so related to the newborn concept. So lots of people already have signed up for this, but if you haven't and you're interested, what I'm doing starting January 7th is a 3-month program called the New Earth Sacred Leadership Activation Journey, where I'm going to be channeling. And what my guides are saying is that this 3-month journey is actually the 4th trimester of the newborn of ourselves as New Earth. So it's exactly what you just said. Yeah. So essentially, if you want a, a, a place to be held as that newborn of you, as the being of New Earth that is specifically you, for the 3-month period, similar to being a newborn who has been born but still needs lots and lots and lots of holding and closeness with the caregiver. That is the purpose of that 3-month journey starting next week, January 7th.
Beautiful.
Yeah, all goes together.
Right?
So, yeah. Yeah, and then I have a free community at livingtheonelight.com. I have a free app, Living the One Light app, on Apple devices, Google devices. We both have YouTube. Anyway, all these things. Yeah. So, yay. And please, yeah, share with us in the comments anything and everything. I would love to hear. What does that feel like? What did that light language feel like? I know a lot of you are actually also starting to have light language come through you. I would love for you to share with us anything you feel called to share. I really feel strongly it's not a coveted thing that only certain people can do light language. I think it's literally what we are. We are made of light. And so I really feel strongly it's natural to any and all of us, and each in our own ways, and no one right way. So yeah, please just share anything.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Martha. Thanks to the audience too.
Mhm.